Hi guys, my name is Mayana and today I'm going to be doing my February wrap-up. So in February I read a total of 24 books, and so I was gonna read 25, but I thought it would be really fun to let my first book in March be also my final book for my reading goal, because I always set my reading goal as 50. Before I get into what I read, I want to get into my reading stats. So I read 24 books in February. I read 6,773 pages, which is like 2,000 less than what I read last month, even though I only read one less book than last month. 12 of those authors were by POC, which is one more than what I read last month, also meaning that half of what I read were BIPOC authors, black authors, which I really love. And then 4 of those were queer authors, so they were probably like black authors who also wrote queer books, or the non-black authors that I did read wrote queer books. So I listened to 1 audiobook and 21 ebooks, and I had 1 hybrid, so I read 1 book physically and like listened to the audiobook. So I think that was I listened to, I don't even remember, I'm not even gonna hold you up. 23 of them were adult books and 1 of them were YA books. So I gave out 3 2 stars, 1 2.5 star, 9 3 stars, 3 3.5 stars, 2 4 stars, 2 2.5 stars, 2 5 stars, and 1 did not rate. Yeah, so now let's get into what I read in February. Okay, so the first book I read is Her Good Side. This is a YA contemporary romance. So this book is about this girl who's in high school, and she never really was interested in crushes, but she decides she does end up developing a crush on a guy, so she decides to ask him to her homecoming because she really wants to like have her first, because she's never really been interested in any of those things, and he rejects her. And so feeling sad, her friend is like, why don't you go with my boyfriend, because they just started dating and she was going with somebody else, which was weird. And so her friend ends up breaking up with that guy, and they go to homecoming together, and then they're like, why don't we date each other so we can be each other's first? And it's because the guy, he ends up like getting hot over the summertime, and he doesn't really know, like, he doesn't really want to do anything with these girls, and that's why they keep breaking up with him. And I really like this book. It had a lot of it had a lot of like oomph to it. Like, they both had personality. Like, she liked to play basketball, and her mom were basketball players. They were in the NBA. He liked to skateboard. He liked to do photography. He had a very popular TikTok that everyone loved, and he also like got really attractive that summer, so everyone wanted to be friends with him. But he really didn't know how to feel about that and like his confidence, and I thought it was very interesting. I thought the romance was good. I ended up giving it 4 out of 5 stars. I thought that like the friend group was the school was really interesting, because people was just dating, like everybody was dating everybody. Like the way that the friend group was just so like careless about who dated who was very interesting. So then I read Lipstick and Camera Clips, which is my favorite book that I read of February. This is a this is a love triangle. Okay, before I even let y'all know, it is a love triangle. It is a full love triangle. They all don't get together in the end. I know we will hope so, but it's a love triangle. So it's about this girl who ends up finding out that her boyfriend is cheating on her, so she dumps him, and then she goes to live with her best friends, which they're siblings, and one's a guy and one's a girl, and she goes to like stay with them. And the guy, he works for a reality TV show, and the sister, the girl, she's like, oh, like, why don't you go audition? And he's like, no, like, you shouldn't, like, that's crazy. And he like, they have like this flirtationship between them, and it's really cute. And then she ends up going on the reality show and getting on it. And the guy, it's like a dating show for a specific guy, so it's like The Bachelor. I've never seen The Bachelor, so I'm gonna assume it's like The Bachelor. I don't know. So he ends up going on like this The Bachelor type of show, and she ends up becoming like she ends up like fake dating. It's not really fake dating, but fake dating the guy that is the like one that they're all trying to date. And also her childhood friend is like producing the show, so it's like they keep sneaking. Oh, it's so good. The drama, like if you love reality TV show, like this show is good for you. Friends to lovers, fake dating, like it kind of has a little bit of everything. Like, I love it. So then I have One More Shot, which is the 3rd book in the Flights and Feelings series. The first book being 1 Week in Paradise, and I love that one. The second one being One Last Job. And so this one is the final book in this trilogy, and I give it 3 stars. This is about this girl who can't finish when she's doing the nasty, and so she decides, her best friends go out one night and they meet this guy, and she's like, this is gonna be the guy, like he's gonna make me do it. And then they do it, and she ends up faking it, and he can tell, and then it like kind of sets them off. And so she ends up becoming a photographer. She's a photographer, and she's taking pictures for the wedding of the main characters in the first book, and he is the brother of the main character in the first book. So they end up like, you know, this, I just like, I don't know, the first book was like, it had all of my favorite tropes. It had like guy in love with a girl, but like she doesn't know it, so she thinks he hates them. I used to love fake dating, even though it's not my favorite anymore. It like gave me that feeling that fake dating used to give to me. It was like he was obsessed with her, like the secretly like in love, brother's best friend, like it just had all the tropes that I liked, and this one didn't have any. So and I read The Secret to a Southern Wedding, which is about this girl who goes back to her hometown and finds out that her mom is getting married to some random guy that she's never met before. And so she ends up and so she doesn't really approve of it. She also meets this guy and like gets ketchup on his shirt, I think, and then she ends up finding out that that guy is the son of the man that her mom is marrying. I gave this 3 out of 5 stars. I thought the main character was very annoying. I didn't like how she was like very judgmental to people wanting to get married, and like she's just like, oh, you haven't been married that long. And like for me personally, I'm the kind of person who believes that, like, you know, I don't believe in the societal standards, the way that relationships work. So like I don't believe you need to know each other for that long to be married. And there's like, at first I was like, well, her mom was annoying, but there was another character that she was judging because she got married too soon, and too soon for you might be right on time for somebody else, and it was just like very annoying. And then also the ending was very weird. I don't want to spoil it for anyone, but I feel like I can't not explain it. So if like you don't, it's a romance book, so it's like if you don't care to like hear, I'm gonna say spoilers, okay? I'm gonna put spoilers, so you can just skip to the next book. So the spoiler is that the mom and the guy is kind of just like, they end up not getting married, right? Because that's the whole point of the book. She's trying to stop this wedding or whatever. So they end up not getting married, but they're still together in the end. But so is the main character and like the soon-to-be stepbrother. Like they don't stop, nobody stops dating. Like, and I just think that's weird. Then the next book is about last night, which is, I don't remember how she knows the main character, but somehow she knows the main character, right? It's in a small town. And it's like her interested in her younger brother's best friend. It was fine. I gave it 3 stars. Then I read Rest to See, which I am so happy I read. I've been wanting to read this for years, and I was like, you know what? It's Black History Month. Like, what other month is the best month to read it? So this one is 19 pages long, and that's actually with the introduction by Zadie Smith. And so this is about 2 girls who grew up in an orphanage, and they end up like, obviously end up leaving the orphanage, and they end up running into each other as they go along in life. Like they end up more times in life, and they were close friends in the orphanage, but obviously once they left the orphanage they weren't like really friends anymore. And so the point of the story is like, you know, one is white and one is black, but you don't know which is which. I personally believe that Twyla's the black one. I have my reasons. My main reason being Roberta could not read, and one thing about this story is it does not give you anything straight. It does not give you any answers straight on, right? There's another something that's like a mystery in the book at the end. You don't get the answer to it. So why would the, like, it would be so, because obviously black people at the time couldn't read. They were known for not knowing how to read, or we were known for not knowing how to read. So why would the author give you that huge information as to why she would be the black one? I also think because when Roberta's mom meets Twyla's mom, the way that Roberta's mom reacts, she's like taken aback. Why would she react the way that she reacted unless she was black? Because at the time that would have been like, Those are my reasons why. I would like to know your reasons why. Next I read Ring Shot, which is about like, what if the triple K, I don't know if I can say that on YouTube, what if the triple K were demons? And I thought this book was really good. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I think that this book is like very ambitious, because it's about them like fighting the triple K, and it's explaining the history and like how it started, and like, I don't know, I thought it was like very interesting. I just didn't give it 5 stars because I didn't love it, because even though it's short and it throws you right into the story, it just still felt like something was missing. I just don't know what. And after that I read Razorblade Tears, which was very popular when it came out. It is about two dads who are seeking revenge of their 2 gay sons that were murdered. And I gave this book 3 stars, and that was to be nice. I personally just don't really like, I don't hate the book, but I don't like that their dad were like homophobic. Like these 2 gay men were like very successful. They had a daughter, and they had really good lives, and their fathers did not care to know them. They didn't care to go to their wedding. Like, they only went to their funeral, obviously. And it just seemed like trying to like give like two homophobic men, like, it just sucked. Like, it just sucked, like, reading this book and knowing that they were doing all this fighting, but they didn't show this love to their sons while their sons were alive. And it's like, you're doing all this work now, but where was it when it was needed? And like, yeah, like, oh my gosh, we love a good revenge plot, but by two homophobes, you know? So at the end of the day, I just couldn't stop thinking about like how they couldn't love their sons when their sons were alive. They couldn't go to like their achievements. They couldn't go to their wedding. They didn't want to care for, they didn't care about the daughter they had. And like, now that they're dead, now the dad is like helping raise the daughter. And it's just, I don't know, I didn't really like that, and I don't understand why it's so popular, to be honest. Enough of being serious. So then I read Waking Up in Vegas, which I gave 4 to 5 stars. This is your typical Waking Up in Vegas story. That was like one of my favorite fan fictions, like during like, you know, the fan fiction days or the Wattpad days, is like the Waking Up in Vegas trope. And I feel like ever since then, like, published books have not done it justice except for this one. Okay, this is about two best friends. The guy, he's like obviously secretly in love with her. The girl, she wants to have kids, but she wants to be married, but it's kind of just like, oh, it's way past that. She's like, I want to have kids. I'm a part of this family and everybody is successful and I just want to start my family. So they wake up married in Vegas, and she's like, you know what, fuck it, like, let's just pretend to stay married and we'll break it off soon. And he wants to like give her that baby that she wants, and like the family ends up like, yeah, I just thought it was like really fun. I wasn't expecting to be so good. This is by Harley Quinn. I forget what they're called. It's like Harley Quinn Desire, and it's like those books that you see like your aunt reading when it's not like historical romances. And so I've kind of been like putting these books off because the covers look kind of corny, but like this cover is kind of cute to me. Like, I don't hate it or anything, but the covers are kind of corny. It looks like something like your favorite aunt would be reading. But it ate. Like, this was actually really good. Like, I was like, it was short. I was very surprised at the writing was good. Like, it was a lot of fun. Like, I'm about to pick up more of these. Like, they were fun. So then I read this book called To Seduce a Siren. I don't know why I read it, but it's about this it's a typical like fantasy. The series is like about pirates, and it has like a bunch of popular authors or whatever. So I decided to start the first one. I really should have picked up my favorite authors. There's like one sapphic book in here that I was really interested in reading, but I'd say after reading this one and like half of like another one, I was like, this series is not for me. It's just a very basic. It's about this guy who like is owed money by like the town drunk, and the guy can't pay him, so he's like, you know what, I'm gonna take your daughter, I'm gonna marry her, that'll be your debt or whatever. And she doesn't want to get married to him. It's like very basic like pirate like book. I just really want a fun, it's like I'm looking for a certain type of pirate book, and nobody has been able to produce except for The Daughter of a Pirate King. But I never finished that series because I didn't think it needed a series. So like the first book was really good, but besides that, I haven't found a good like book with pirate in it. So then, because of Beyonce, I got in my cowgirl era. Save a horse, ride a cowboy, all of that jazz. So I ended up reading this series called Blazing Eagle. It's by a black author, and there's 4 books, but I read 3. So there's 2 full books and 1 novella. So that's what I read. I read Back in the Saddle, and I buddy read this with my friend from TikTok. Her name is Nosha, and I forced her to read this with me. Basically, I love this trope. It used to be my favorite trope in my Wattpad days. Okay, sometimes I like to travel back in time and read like my favorite like Wattpad tropes. Okay, this is about this girl who's in love with this guy, and they end up breaking up, and she has a baby. She got pregnant by him, but she like ran away, right? He doesn't know about it. And so she ends up having to move back in town because she cannot afford to live on her own anymore. So she moves back to her hometown. She ends up working in a bar, and it's a lot easier because then her mom can watch her son. And so she ends up running into like her old ex-boyfriend, and their feelings just like re-spark immediately. But it's also like cowboy, and it's like, I don't know, I'm gonna have to get more into cowboy romances, because it was just like the way that they talk. Like, he kept calling her something like, oh, he kept calling her like Maddie girl, and I thought that was really attractive, because in a lot of like romance books they'll call her like, oh, baby girl, or like my sweet pie, or it's like something like very corny, you know. But that was like very unique and something I never read before, like using your name as a nickname, right? So then there's second book, like Knocking the Boots, and that's like best friends, brothers. I thought I was gonna like that. It was like fine. And then there was the last one that I read, which I gave 2.5 out of 5 stars, and this follows one of the brothers of the main guy from the first one, and it was like, man. So then I reread Romancing the Duke. So the the trailer, the teaser trailer for season 3 came out, and I was like, you know what, I miss pollen. Everyone hates them, but I love them. Okay, so if there are no pollen lovers, I am dead. Okay, best book in the series so far. I am vlogging it, but I decided to take a break because some of them are boring, and I was gonna just read them out of order, but I feel like that would be confusing for the vlog, so now I have to read them in order, and then I lost all interest. So hopefully hopefully the vlog will be here before season 3. I don't know. Maybe I'll just have to post what I have. I only have one book, so actually never mind. Yeah, so I reread this, gave it 4.5 out of 5 stars. I love pollen. I think they're so cute. I really hope when we see the mirror scene. I know a lot of people hate them, but I think the whole like girl chasing guy trope, and then the guy, like, I think it was done well. Like, I don't, because a lot of people don't care for pollen, they don't like the idea, they haven't read the book, they don't understand it. Like, in the book, yeah, I get it, like, she's chasing him, like, oh, like, that's not hot because everyone does the boy obsessed trope, which, don't get me wrong, I love a boy obsessed trope. I just think this was done very well, and damn it, my camera overheated as it usually does. I don't remember what book I was talking about. I'm so sorry. I also read The Children of Horin, which is a like Lord of the Rings book. It isn't necessarily like in the Lord of the Rings series, but the author's son had like pieced together some of his work to like make him, I don't know, a lot of author children do that. They're like, oh, I found the work of like my parent, and like I'm gonna put it together, and then you like read it and it like feels significantly off. But whatever, some fans like it, some fans don't. I don't know how I feel about it. I thought it was okay, but I'm also not a huge like Lord of the Rings fan. Like, I think it's very good, but for some reason nothing is clicking for me. I'm very interested in like the world, and I just keep reading it because I'm waiting for that story to be like, oh my gosh, I love it. So I probably won't stop reading it until I read everything, and the covers are pretty, so I don't even care all that much. Then I read Path of Visions, which I gave 3 out of 5 stars. This is the last book in this is the last book in the High Republic phase 2, so now I can finally move on to phase 3, but I decided I'm gonna reread from the beginning. So I don't know why I hate myself, but I love this series so much. It's Star Wars. It takes place 200 years before the Skywalker saga. I have a video on how to read it. You don't have to know anything about Star Wars to jump into it. Like, you really can just hop right in. It is my favorite thing in the Star Wars universe. It's why I love this series, is why I love Star Wars so much, because the movies were like good, but the High Republic just eats like okay. And then I got in my monster romance era, so I read My Minitar Husband, which is about this girl who she's single and she lives in this world where like everyone's married off to like monsters or whatever, and she's not really interested in one, but one day she decides, you know what, fuck it, why don't I just get into it, right? So she ends up going through like this stack of like profiles that she has. She ends up coming across this minotaur that she finds very high. It's actually the application on the cover, and she ends up like, you know, starting this romance with him. The plot of the book is that his wiener is too big. So that's the plot of the book. That's the plot of the book. Like, if you go read the description, it's literally in the description. I gave it 3 stars. It was like, okay. It was just like very like, oh, go on a date, I like you too. I don't like reading books like with fluff that feel like close to real life. Like, if I could go to like the nearest like store and meet a guy and experience this myself, why would I want to read it? I want to read for something I can never experience, because that's why I'm here. But then again, I haven't experienced any romance, so. And then I have Monster Pucker, which is like a hockey like monster romance. It's about this girl who's a journalist who ends up like in the locker room while these two like monsters are like monsters on the hockey team are like fooling around, and because it's like a really popular hockey team and she's trying to like get the inside scoop, so she's up like and they're fooling around, and then they end up finding her, and then they're like, I'm gonna take you on a date, and then they go on a date, they end up hooking up, and then they like fall in love. And I've read Cleo Evans before, and a lot of her books follow the same formula of like the characters meeting, then they're going out on dates, and then they like fall in love. Like my favorite book by her also has that, which I realized, and that kind of like has me like. And then she has a series called like it's like a blind date series where like a guy from a cafe like hooks the monster up with a human, and like that's the whole point of the book, is like going out. And it's like, how many more times can you write this? Like, how many more times can you write, oh, let's go out on it? And it's just like, it's always so random. Like, if two guys caught you spying on them in the locker room, why would they go, oh yeah, let's go out on a date? And so I'm just like, Cleo Evans kind of hasn't came up with anything new, and so until she does, I'm not gonna be reading from her. And it sucks because I like her smut and I do like her writing, but it's like, you're writing the same thing over and over again. Why would I keep reading? Why do people keep reading? I mean, I keep reading it. Why do people keep reading it? I read the Alien Marriage Deal, which is about this girl. It's about this girl, and she wants to be in the military. The military is like, you're not good enough for the military, but you know what you are good for? To mate with this alien, because you have this, your black women are the only women that can mate with the alien, so we need you to like mate with them. The writing was terrible. I read a book by this author before. I like to give authors like 3 tries before I give up on them. This is all she got. She's not getting no more tries from me. I'm not reading no more shit by her. I'm sorry. Like, I cannot. I then read An Offer from a Gentleman, which is the 3rd book in the Bridgerton series, so I'm reading them out of order. This one is about Benedict and Sophie. Listen, I read this one because I am manifesting that Sophie is black, okay? There's a rumor that she's been fan casted as black, and I am manifesting that it is true, okay? If it's not, I'm not tuning in. I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you. So yeah, this is about Sophie. This is like a Cinderella retelling type of thing, which when I was reading the reviews, a lot of people didn't like that. I liked it. At least it's not fucking Beauty and the Beast. That's all I gotta say. If I gotta read one more goddamn Beauty and the Beast retelling, to my head, okay? I'm jumping off something very high. So the fact that it was Cinderella, I was like, you know what, you already sell it for me. Actually, I really like the beginning of the book. It's about Sophie. Her dad is something. I don't read a lot of historical romances, so when there are phrases that I don't know, I just like, I'll figure it out, right? Her dad is something. I don't know. Everybody in a historical romance always has some type of title. So her dad is like something. Her dad ends up getting married because her dad isn't married, so she's a bastard, so that's like her thing, right? So her dad ends up getting married to this lady, and on her wedding day, the lady is like, listen, bitch. She's like, listen, little bitch. You're not one of my kids. You're a bastard. We're not gonna acknowledge you. You don't fucking exist, okay? Stay in your place. And Sophie's like, I'm okay. So then the dad passes away, and in the dad's will, he's like telling the stepmom, he's like, you can either take care of my daughter and she'll get this, and you can get like, you'll either get $2,000 a month, or you'll take care of my daughter and you'll get like, it's a big lump sum of money. She's like, fuck, I really don't care, want to take care of this little bitch, but whatever, I will. So she agrees to take care. Sorry, there's something in my eye. She agrees to take care of her. She doesn't really want to, you know, Cinderella. So like, there's a ball. So the Bridgertons are throwing this ball. It's a masquerade ball. She ends up going to the ball, meeting Benedict. They hit it off really good. He ends up like coming to look for her because she leaves her glove, I believe. And so he ends up going to look for her, and he he doesn't find her, so he kind of gives up. He ends up meeting Sophie. He like saves Sophie. He ends up meeting her, takes her back to the house, and they like fall in love, even though he's like looking for this other girl who is Sophie, but to his knowledge it's not. And listen, I thought this book was really fun up until there was a point where they just got doing a nasty, and he was like, you should be my mistress. That is not sexy. What the fuck? The book was so good up until then, but then he asked her like, what? Why would I want to be your mistress? Like, what? So that kind of pissed me off. And like, I get it because, you know, she's poor, so he's not really like, but I don't care. I didn't like it. So, and then I read Orthologist Field Guide to Love, and this is about two people who, so an ornithologist is somebody who studies birds. And so in the beginning of the book, it's about this girl who like is finding, so it's about these people who are like looking for like this special birds, like win an award. They like hunt for birds. And so it's about this girl and her rival. When I say this is the best, one of the best rivals I've read, period, like this is like rivals to lovers, and I fucking love it, because a lot of rivals to lovers, like, it'll end really badly, or like they're not really rivals. No, they are very rivals. And it's like, it's historical romance as well, so the way that they talk is like very attractive, and it was also just very funny. But anyway, so yeah, they're looking for this bird, and there's like this so they have to work together, because even though they have their own partners, they end up having to work together because they end up being put in this situation. And so they can only trust the two of them because they both were in that situation together. So they can't trust their own partners, and they're forced to be together. So it's like forced proximity, but like they have to travel together, and they're like looking for this bird. But there's also like this mystery going on like outside of that. And I thought it was like very good. It was very funny. It was so funny, and like it was very smutty, and not very smutty, but it was like this, it was like very funny. The romance was really good. The rivals to love was really good. Like, I really like this good book. I gave it 4.5 out of 5 stars. I might even make it higher. I just want to see like when it comes out to reread it, to see like if I'll have that same feel, and then I'll give it a 5-star, you know. But I like the cover, I like the book. Talk more about this in a vlog that I'm going to be uploading soon. And it's my net gully vlog. So then I read Some Desperate Glory, which is a sci-fi book. I gave it 3.5 out of 5 stars. It was pretty good. The main character, it was very diverse. The main character was a little annoying, and like I thought that was gonna end at some point, but no, it wasn't. And it like kind of had found family, and it had like aliens in it, and it kind of just reminded me of Star Trek, with like how like Star Trek Lower Decks was one of my favorite shows. Like in the friend group there's like aliens, humans, like there's like this one alien like in the friend group of humans, and it's like normal, like nobody's like, oh my gosh, a fucking alien. And I just thought it was like really cool. So like I feel like the main character kind of had a lack of personality compared to the other characters, and she had like a lot of animosity towards them, and it was like very annoying. She was just very annoying. Okay, and then I read A Werewolf's Guide to Seducing the Vampire, which I get 3 out of 5 stars. This is the 3rd book in like a series. I have read the 1st book. I really liked the 1st book. I never read the 2nd book because it's about, I got an arc of the 2nd book, but I didn't read it because it was about like a road trip. I realized after I requested it, and I don't like road trips in books, so that was my fault. So I requested this one, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna read this. And it's about this guy who ends up ordering like this crystal online after the wedding of the main characters in the 1st book, and he ends up ordering this crystal, and it has like this succubus witch vampire in it. He's like, oh haha, so funny. He ends up ordering the succubus vampire, actually comes out of it, and they kind of start like this like romance situation. That was fine. Like it was fine. Then I read The Wheel of Time, which very popular book, like come on now. I ended up giving it 3 out of 5 stars. I watched the TV show, and I really liked the TV show. The 1st season of the TV show didn't really like have a lot going on, and then the 2nd one was like really, the 2nd season was like really, really good, like all the build up from the 1st season. So that's kind of like what this happened in this book. Like it wasn't a lot going on, but you could tell it's like a lot of world building, a lot of getting to know the characters, a lot of getting to know the world, and I actually really appreciate that, instead of just throwing us in. Now it is 700 pages. It was 1,000 pages on my Kindle, so it's kind of like, girl, you could have gave us something. But it's like, it's so, I love these characters. Like it's so crazy because in the second season, like in the 1st season I didn't really care about these characters. In the 2nd season, like I ended up loving them. Like Egwene is like one of my favorite characters, and hopefully, like I mean, so far in the book she is written very similar to the show, so hopefully like it, like I don't know, I just really love her character. I think she's such a strong character, and like seeing what she went through in the 2nd season made me love her character a lot more. So I'm really hoping, I don't really know how like the show works with the books, like, you know, if books, because like I'm thinking that book 2 will be season 2, but then the way that everyone was viewing it, they were like, oh, this was kind of boring. And like season 2 of the show was like very good, and obviously they changed stuff, like blah blah blah. Like I could see the changes in the 1st book, but I don't know, I have my hopes and my dreams. Like what the fuck. Egwene is one of my favorite characters. Like I love her. I love Perrin. I love him. Oh, and if you would have told me that this book had werewolves, I would have tuned in a long time ago, to be honest. I love Perrin. I love Rand. He's so fun. I love Rand. I kind of like Matt. I want to love him, but I'm scared he might be a, but you know what, I love a good villain. So you know what, I love Matt. I love him. I think he's cute. I love the, like, I like him in the book, and I like the character change that they gave him, because I feel like the 2nd character fits, the 2nd guy that was casted fits his character a lot more in like the book wise, like how I picture him. Like it just felt better. And then lastly, I read An Education in Malice. I give this 4 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. I listened to the audiobook. It was really quick. It was really fast. I loved it. It is about, it's a Carmilla retelling. It's about Carmilla and Laura, who are like rivals. They're academic rivals at this college, and they have like this professor, La De Fontaine, and she kind of like swoops him under her wing, and then, oh, spoiler, she's a vampire. Carmilla's a vampire. Oh my gosh. And there's like a plot twist in here. I thought this was really good. I know I read the reviews and a lot of people didn't like it. Listen, the vampire club scene 8, and it got me. You know what, my camera overheated, so I'm gonna take that as a sign to shut the hell up. So I'm sorry. If you want to see my reviews for any of these, y'all know I'm always on Goodreads. I'm always reviewing what's on Goodreads. I review everything I read, even if it's just a sentence. So yeah, that is it for this video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.